Welcome back to my channel, The World of Rare and Valuable Coins, where every small piece of metal can hold a big story and an even bigger surprise. Today, we are diving into the fascinating universe of mixed coins, different years, different mint marks, and different histories, all coming together to reveal hidden treasures that many people overlook every single day. Have you ever looked at a handful of coins and thought they were just ordinary change? Think again. Among these mixed coins could be something truly special, coins with rare errors, unique features, or historical importance that collectors are always searching for. From old Washington quarters to Jefferson nickels and beyond, each coin carries its own journey and mystery. In this video, we will explore how to identify valuable coins from a mixed collection, what details you should pay attention to, and how a simple coin could turn into something worth far more than you imagine. Some coins may look worn and common, but their real value lies in the hidden details that only careful eyes can spot. So don't underestimate your coins. Stay with us as we uncover secrets, reveal rare possibilities, and guide you step by step into the exciting world of coin collecting, where even the smallest discovery can make a big difference. The next up, top 2, so stay with us as we reveal what makes a 1977 D Washington quarter truly special, how to identify rare features, and why you should never ignore an old coin without taking a closer look. Your next big discovery might already be in your hands. The 1977 United States Washington quarter, especially one bearing the D mint mark from the Denver Mint, carries with it a quiet but powerful story that many people fail to notice at first glance. When you hold a circulated and worn example in your hand, you are not just holding a simple coin, you are holding a piece of history that has traveled through decades of everyday life. Its faded surfaces, softened details, and copper-toned edge reveal a journey that stretches back to the late 1970s, a time when the world was changing rapidly and money flowed through millions of hands every single day. At first, such a coin might seem ordinary, almost too common to deserve a second look. After all, the 1977 D quarter was produced in very large numbers, and most of these coins were intended for daily transactions rather than collectors. But what makes coin collecting so exciting is the idea that even among millions of similar pieces, a few can stand out in remarkable ways. A worn coin does not automatically mean a worthless coin. In fact, sometimes it is within these heavily circulated pieces that hidden rarities quietly exist, waiting for someone observant enough to recognize them. The copper-colored edge that you see on your quarter is a defining feature of coins minted after 1965. This layered construction with a copper core sandwiched between nickel outer layers replaced the older silver composition. Many people misunderstand this feature, believing it signals rarity or a special type of metal. In reality, it is completely normal. Yet, it also serves as a reminder of an important shift in U.S. coinage history, when rising silver prices forced a change that still affects every coin in circulation today. As you look deeper into the world of the 1977 D quarter, you begin to realize that its true potential lies not in its basic form, but in the rare variations that can occur during the minting process. Mint errors are where ordinary coins become extraordinary. A slight misalignment of the die, a double strike, an off-center image, or even a planchet error can transform a simple quarter into something that collectors are eager to own. These errors are not produced intentionally, they are accidents, and because of that, they are rare and highly sought after. Imagine discovering that your worn coin, something you might have almost ignored, actually carries one of these unique characteristics. The excitement of such a moment is what fuels the passion of collectors around the world. It is not just about money, it is about discovery, about finding something hidden in plain sight. Even a coin that has spent years in circulation can suddenly become the center of attention if it shows something unusual that sets it apart from millions of others. However, it is important to approach these possibilities with a balanced understanding. While stories of coins selling for massive amounts can be inspiring, they are also often exaggerated or misunderstood. A standard 1977 D quarter, especially one that is heavily worn and without any special features, is typically worth only its face value or a small premium. The idea that every old coin can make someone a millionaire overnight is more myth than reality. True high-value coins are extremely rare and usually have well-documented reasons for their worth. Still, that does not take away from the importance or charm of your coin. Every mark, every scratch, and every worn detail adds to its story. This coin may have been used in countless transactions, buying groceries, paying for services, or simply passing from one pocket to another. Over time, it has become a silent witness to everyday life, carrying with it a history that cannot be replaced. The design of the Washington quarter itself adds another layer of appreciation. Featuring the strong and recognizable profile of George Washington on the front and the proud eagle on the reverse, the coin represents stability and tradition. Even in worn condition, these elements remain visible, though softened by time. The fading of details does not erase the design, it transforms it into something that reflects the passage of years. As collectors study coins like the 1977 D quarter, they often focus on grading, which measures the condition of a coin. A circulated coin falls into lower grades, but this does not make it unimportant. In fact, many collectors enjoy building sets that include coins in all conditions, appreciating each one for its role in completing a historical timeline. Your coin could be part of such a collection, contributing to a bigger picture that spans decades. There's also the rare but fascinating possibility of major minting anomalies, such as coins struck on the wrong type of metal or with dramatic production errors. While these cases are extremely uncommon, they are the kind of discoveries that can truly change the value of a coin. Finding such a piece is like uncovering a hidden treasure, something that few people ever experience but many dream about. The coin market itself is always evolving. What may be considered common today could become more desirable in the future as fewer coins remain in circulation and interest in older currency grows. Generations change, and with them, new collectors enter the field, bringing fresh curiosity and demand. A coin that seems ordinary now might hold greater significance years down the line. If you ever suspect that your 1977 D quarter has something unique about it, taking the time to have it evaluated can be a wise decision. Experts and professional grading services have the knowledge and tools to identify features that might not be obvious to the untrained eye. This step can help you understand the true nature of your coin and ensure that you do not overlook any hidden value. Beyond all considerations of price and rarity, there is something deeply engaging about the simple act of holding an old coin and imagining its journey. Where has it been? Who has used it? What stories could it tell if it could speak? These questions add a sense of mystery and connection that goes far beyond monetary worth. In the end, the 1977 Washington quarter with a D mint mark is more than just a piece of currency. It is a small but meaningful artifact of history, a reminder of a different time, and a symbol of the hidden potential that exists in everyday objects. While it may not turn you into a billionaire overnight, it has the power to spark curiosity, inspire exploration, and draw you into a world where even the most ordinary things can hold extraordinary stories. The next up, top 3 He 1979 United States Washington quarter is one of those coins that almost everyone has seen, touched, or even spent without a second thought. It looks simple, ordinary, and easy to ignore. But what if I told you that behind this everyday coin lies a story that has captured the attention of collectors, treasure hunters, and curious minds all around the world? A story filled with mystery, value, and the exciting possibility that something small could hold unexpected worth. At first glance, this coin does not seem special. It features the familiar face of George Washington on the front and an eagle on the back. These designs have been part of American coinage for decades, but the true story begins when you look closer, when you examine the date, the mint mark, and even the tiny details that most people overlook. The 1979 quarter was produced during a time when coins were no longer made of silver. Instead, they were struck using a copper core with a nickel coating. This is why if you look at the edge of the coin, you will notice a thin copper-colored line. Many people mistake this for something unusual, but in reality, it is completely normal for coins made after 1965. Now let's talk about the D mint mark. If your 1979 quarter has a small d under the date, it means it was minted in Denver. The Denver Mint produced a massive number of these coins, hundreds of millions. Because of this, most 1979 D quarters are very common, especially those that have been used in everyday circulation. This is where many people get confused. They believe that because a coin is old, it must be valuable, but age alone does not determine value. Coin must be rare, unique, or in exceptional condition to be worth a significant amount of money. And this is where the story becomes more interesting. Some 1979 D quarters were struck with minting errors. These errors happen during the production process and can sometimes make a coin more valuable. One of the most talked about errors is known as the filled D mint mark. This occurs when grease or debris blocks part of the mint mark, making the letter D appear filled or blurry. To the average person, this might look like a small flaw, but to collectors it can be a sign of something special. A clearly visible and well-defined error can increase the value of a coin, especially if it is in good condition. However, it is important to stay realistic. Not every error coin is worth a fortune. In fact, most circulated 1979 D quarters, even with minor errors, are only worth a small premium. You might see values ranging from a few dollars to perhaps $50 or more, depending on how strong the error is and how well the coin has been preserved. Sometimes you may come across online listings claiming these coins are worth thousands or even millions of dollars. These claims can be very misleading. Just because someone lists a coin for a high price does not mean it will sell for that amount. Real value is based on actual sales, not just asking prices. In rare cases, a 1979 D quarter in nearly perfect condition, what collectors call mint state, can sell for much higher prices. If such a coin also has a strong and unusual error, it could potentially reach into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But coins like this are extremely rare and usually found by experienced collectors. For a coin that has been circulated, meaning it has been used, worn down, and passed through many hands, the value is much lower. Most circulated 1979 D quarters are worth between 25 cents and $1. Even with a small error, the value may only increase slightly. So what should you do if you find one of these coins? The answer is simple: examine it carefully. Look at the mint mark, check for unusual features, and compare it with known examples. If you believe your coin might be special, you can consider having it evaluated by a professional grading service. But beyond the value, there is something even more important: the experience. Coin collecting is not just about making money. It is about the excitement of discovery, the connection to history, and the satisfaction of learning something new. Error coins like this can sometimes sell for higher prices, especially if they are in better condition. A strong and clear mint error on a 1979 D quarter can be worth anywhere from $50 to a few $100s. In rare cases, high-quality examples may even reach higher prices at auctions. But here's the important truth: most circulated coins with minor or weak errors are not extremely valuable. If the coin is heavily worn, scratched, or the error is hard to see, the value drops significantly. Many such coins are only worth a small premium over face value. You may see listings online claiming these coins are worth thousands or even millions of dollars. These claims can be misleading. Asking prices are not the same as actual sold prices. Many of these listings are simply attempts to attract attention and do not reflect the real market value. The real value of any coin depends on four key factors: condition, rarity, demand, and authentication. Coins that are in perfect or near perfect condition, known as mint state, are much more valuable than worn coins. Professional grading also plays a major role in determining value. Every coin has a journey. Your 1979 D quarter may have passed through hundreds of hands, traveled across cities, and witnessed decades of change. Even if it is not worth a fortune, it still carries a story that makes it unique. The dream of finding a rare and valuable coin is real. There are stories of collectors discovering coins worth thousands of dollars in ordinary places. But these stories are rare, and they happen because of knowledge, patience, and careful attention to detail. So do not rush to believe that every coin will make you rich overnight. Instead, take the time to learn, observe, and understand what makes a coin truly valuable. Because in the world of coin collecting, knowledge is your greatest asset. In the end, the 1979 D Washington quarter is more than just a coin. It is a reminder that even the smallest objects can hold meaning, history, and sometimes a little bit of hidden value. And who knows? The next coin you check might just surprise you, but only if you know what to look for. The next up top for the 1986 United States Washington quarter is one of those coins that quietly sits in circulation, often ignored, yet carries a fascinating story beneath its worn surface. At first glance, a circulated 1986 D quarter, with its Denver mint mark and visible copper edge, may look ordinary, something you might receive in change without a second thought. But in the world of coin collecting, even the most common-looking coins can hold surprising value, especially when rarity, condition, and minting quirks come into play. To understand its potential, you have to go back to 1986, a time when millions of quarters were being produced for everyday commerce. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of these coins, meaning most examples today are not rare at all. In circulated and worn condition, a typical 1986 D Washington quarter is usually worth only its face value, 25 cents. However, this is where the story begins to shift, because not every coin is just typical. The composition of the 1986 quarter is important. Like other quarters made after 1965, it consists of a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. That copper stripe you see on the edge is completely normal. Many people mistakenly believe this copper color indicates something special or rare, but in reality, it is standard for modern quarters. Still, subtle variations in this layering can sometimes signal minting errors, and that's where collectors start paying attention. Now imagine holding a worn 1986 D quarter that looks slightly different. Maybe the strike is off-center, or the lettering appears doubled. These small imperfections, often dismissed by the average person, can transform a common coin into something far more valuable. Error coins are highly sought after, and depending on the type and severity of the error, a single 1986 D quarter could be worth tens, hundreds, or even thousands of dollars. One of the most exciting possibilities lies in double die errors. If the coin shows noticeable doubling in the inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust, collectors may recognize it as a rare minting mistake. These coins are not common, and when authenticated, they can fetch impressive prices in the collector's market. Even in circulated condition, such a coin could be worth far more than its original value. Another fascinating category is off-center strikes. These occur when the coin blank is not properly aligned during minting. The result is a design that is partially missing, giving the coin a dramatic and unusual appearance. A 1986 D quarter with a significant off-center strike can easily become a prized collectible, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible. Then there are clipped planchets, coins that were cut incorrectly before being struck. If your 1986 D quarter has a curved or missing section along the edge, it might be one of these rare pieces. Collectors love such visible and unusual errors because they tell a clear story of what went wrong during the minting process. Even the condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its value. While you specifically mentioned circulated and worn coins, it's worth noting that uncirculated versions of the 1986 D quarter can be significantly more valuable. Coins in mint state condition, with sharp details and no wear, can sell for much higher prices, especially if graded by professional services. However, the idea that a regular worn 1986 D quarter could make you a millionaire overnight is more myth than reality. Stories like these often spread excitement, but in truth, only extremely rare coins with unique characteristics reach such extraordinary values. Most circulated examples will not change your life financially, but a rare error coin just might surprise you. That said, the thrill of the hunt is what keeps collectors engaged. Every coin you examine carries the possibility of being something special. It's not just about the money, it's about discovery, history, and the excitement of finding something others have overlooked. The Washington Quarter itself has a rich legacy. Introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington, it has gone through many design and composition changes over the decades. By 1986, it had already become a staple of American currency, representing both history and everyday life. When you hold a worn 1986 D quarter, you're holding a piece of that history. It may have passed through countless hands, traveled across cities, and been part of everyday transactions for decades. Each scratch and mark tells a silent story of its journey. Collectors often emphasize the importance of closely examining coins under good lighting. Sometimes, what appears to be a simple worn surface can reveal hidden details, tiny errors, unusual textures, or subtle variations that set a coin apart. A magnifying glass can turn an ordinary inspection into an exciting exploration. Another factor to consider is grading. Even circulated coins can be graded, and while they may not achieve high grades, authentication alone can increase their appeal to collectors. Knowing that a coin is genuine and professionally evaluated adds a layer of confidence in its value. It's also important to be cautious of exaggerated claims. The internet is full of stories suggesting that common coins are worth millions, but these are often misleading. Real value comes from rarity, demand, and condition, not just the year or mint mark alone. Still, there are documented cases where seemingly ordinary coins turned out to be rare treasures. These stories fuel the imagination and keep collectors searching. While the odds are slim, the possibility is always there, and that's what makes coin collecting so captivating. If you truly believe your 1986 D quarter might be special, the best step is to have it examined by an expert. Coin dealers and professional grading services can provide accurate assessments and help you understand what you have. In the end, the 1986 D Washington Quarter represents more than just money. It symbolizes curiosity, history, and the excitement of discovery. Whether it's worth 25 cents or hundreds of dollars, its true value lies in the story it carries and the journey it invites you to take. So don't rush to spend it without a second look. Take a moment, examine it carefully, and appreciate the possibility that even the most ordinary coin can hold extraordinary secrets. Because sometimes it's not just about becoming a billionaire overnight, it's about seeing value where others see none and finding hidden treasures in the most unexpected places. And that is the real power of a simple, worn 1986 D quarter. The next up, top 5. The idea of finding a 1982 Washington quarter worth millions of dollars sounds exciting, almost like a hidden treasure story waiting to be discovered in everyday pocket change. Many people hear viral claims about certain modern coins turning into life-changing fortunes overnight, especially coins from the 1970s and 1980s. But when we look at the real history and minting facts of the 1982 United States quarter, the truth becomes much more grounded, though still interesting for collectors. The 1982 Washington quarter was produced by the United States Mint as part of regular circulation coinage. It features the familiar profile of George Washington on the front and the eagle design on the reverse. In 1982, quarters were not made of silver anymore. Instead, they were struck using a copper core with a copper-nickel outer layer. This makes them fundamentally different from the older silver quarters minted before 1965. The P Mint mark you mentioned refers to coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1982, Philadelphia quarters were produced in extremely large numbers for everyday circulation. That alone already tells us something important. Rarity is extremely low for this year in normal circulated condition. When something is produced in huge quantities, its base value in the collector market usually stays close to face value unless there is a special error. In circulated and worn condition, a 1982 Washington quarter, whether P Mint or D Mint, remains very common today. Millions of these coins still exist in circulation, coin jars, and collections. Because of this abundance, their market value typically stays around 25 cents unless there is something unusual about the coin. Now, some people believe that copper composition or a different look on the edge can make these coins extremely valuable. In reality, all standard 1982 quarters have a copper core and nickel coating. Seeing copper at the edge is normal and not a sign of rarity. It is simply how modern US quarters are made. However, coin collectors do sometimes look for minting errors. These can include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, or wrong metal compositions. If a 1982 quarter had a major minting mistake, then it could gain collector interest. But even then, the value would usually be in the range of tens to hundreds of dollars, not millions. There is no verified historical record of any 1982 Washington quarter reaching million-dollar value in normal coin markets. Claims of instant billionaire coins are usually internet myths or exaggerated stories created to attract attention. Real numismatic value depends on rarity, demand, condition, and documented grading, not viral rumors. Even in uncirculated mint state condition, a standard 1982 quarter might be worth only a few dollars to collectors, depending on grading quality. Coins are graded on a scale from heavily worn to perfect condition, and only the highest grades can slightly increase value but still within realistic limits. One of the most important things in coin collecting is understanding the difference between circulated coins and error coins. Circulated coins are used in daily life and naturally lose value due to wear. Error coins, on the other hand, are rare mistakes made during minting, and those are the ones that sometimes attract serious collector money. For the 1982 quarter specifically, no major rare variety has been confirmed that would turn it into a million-dollar piece. This year is not like certain famous error coins or early silver quarters that are genuinely rare and historically valuable. Collectors still enjoy 1982 quarters, but mostly as part of complete sets or historical timelines. They represent a modern era of U.S. coinage when the country had already moved away from silver currency and fully adopted copper-nickel-clad coins. The Washington quarter design itself has remained iconic since 1932. George Washington's portrait is one of the most recognized images in American currency history, and that adds historical charm even to common modern versions like the 1982 issue. When people see coins online being called million-dollar quarters, it is usually based on misunderstanding, misidentification, or clickbait content. Real numismatics requires careful authentication, grading by experts, and documented auction records. If you ever find a 1982 quarter in your pocket, it is still worth keeping in good condition if you enjoy collecting, but it should not be treated as a guaranteed fortune-changing item. Its true value is historical and collectible, not financially transformative. The most valuable U.S. quarters in history tend to come from earlier silver issues or extremely rare mint errors. Those coins have documented scarcity and auction records that support high prices. The 1982 quarter does not fall into that category. Still, coin collecting is about more than just money. Many collectors appreciate coins like the 1982 Washington quarter for their design, history, and connection to everyday life in the early 1980s. It represents a time when cash was fully physical and coins were widely used in daily transactions. Understanding real coin values helps protect people from unrealistic expectations. While it is fun to imagine finding a hidden treasure in pocket change, true numismatic value is always backed by rarity and verified data, not viral claims. So the 1982 Washington quarter remains an ordinary but historically interesting coin. It is part of America's modern currency system and continues to circulate quietly in everyday life without hidden millionaire secrets attached to it. If you are exploring coins for investment or collecting, the best approach is learning how grading works, studying verified rare varieties, and avoiding exaggerated online claims. Knowledge is what actually builds long-term value in collecting. In the end, the 1982 P Mint Washington quarter is a common piece of U.S. history, not a hidden jackpot. Its real worth lies in its role as everyday currency, not in fantasy million-dollar valuations. And while it may not turn someone into a billionaire overnight, it can still spark curiosity, learning, and appreciation for the detailed world of coins, where history and craftsmanship matter far more than viral myths. The next up, top 6, the 1973 United States Washington quarter, especially the Denver Mint D version in circulated and worn condition, is one of those coins that often gets surrounded by myths, hype, and internet rumors that sound too good to be true. Many people hear dramatic stories online claiming that even an ordinary-looking quarter from this year could secretly be worth millions, enough to turn someone into a millionaire or even a billionaire overnight. But the real history and reality behind this coin is far more grounded, and understanding it properly is what truly gives you power as a collector or someone checking pocket change. The 1973 quarter belongs to the long-running Washington Quarter series that began in 1932 to honor George Washington. By 1973, the United States had already transitioned away from silver quarters, meaning this coin is part of the modern clad era. It was struck with a copper core layered between copper-nickel outer layers, giving it that standard silvery appearance without containing any actual silver value. The Denver Mint, marked with a small d on the coin, produced millions upon millions of these quarters in 1973. Because of this massive production, most surviving examples today are extremely common. Even in worn, circulated condition, they are still considered everyday pocket change pieces rather than rare treasures. When people talk about worn condition, they are referring to coins that have been used in daily transactions, passed through hands, wallets, cash registers, and vending machines. These coins lose their sharp details over time, but they remain historically interesting because they represent real circulation history rather than preserved collector pieces. In the real coin market, a typical 1973 D Washington quarter in circulated condition is usually worth only its face value of 25 cents. Sometimes, depending on demand or dealer interest, it might sell for slightly more in bulk rolls, but it does not reach extraordinary or life-changing figures under normal circumstances. The idea that this coin could be worth millions is not supported by any verified auction records or professional numismatic grading results. No standard 1973 D Washington quarter has ever been documented selling for even a fraction of $1 million, let alone reaching extreme wealth-changing levels. However, like many mass-produced coins, there are special cases where value can increase. These include minting errors, off-center strikes, double dies, or unusual planchet mistakes. Even then, such errors typically reach hundreds or sometimes a few $1,000s depending on rarity and condition, not millions. One important detail collectors always check is the coin's surface quality. A truly high-grade uncirculated 1973 D quarter, especially one preserved in mint state with strong luster and no wear, might have modest collector value. But even top-grade examples generally stay within a small collectible price range. The Washington Quarter series is often misunderstood because people assume age automatically equals rarity. But in coin collecting, rarity is not about how old a coin is, it is about how many were made, how many survived in good condition, and whether any unusual production mistakes occurred. The 1973 quarter was produced during a time of industrial-scale minting. The United States Mint was producing coins for a rapidly growing economy, meaning billions of quarters were struck across different years in the 1970s. This high production volume keeps individual coin values low in most cases. Many viral stories online exaggerate coin values to create excitement or attention. These claims often mix real coin facts with fictional pricing, making people believe that ordinary coins can suddenly become hidden treasures. In reality, professional grading services like PCGS or NGC are used to verify true rarity and value. A genuine collector looking at a 1973 D quarter would examine details such as strike quality, mint luster, surface marks, and any visible anomalies. Without rare characteristics, the coin remains a standard circulated piece rather than a valuable numismatic rarity. Even though it is not worth millions, the 1973 Washington quarter still holds historical importance. It represents a period in American coinage when the country had fully transitioned into modern clad coin production, ending the era of silver circulating currency just a few years earlier. Collectors often appreciate coins like this not for extreme financial value, but for their role in everyday American history. A worn 1973 D quarter might have passed through countless hands during the 1970s and 1980s, making it a small artifact of real economic life. If you ever find one in your pocket change, it is still worth keeping an eye on its condition. While most are common, unusual minting errors can occasionally slip through, and those are the ones that attract collector attention. However, it is important to stay realistic. No authentic 1973 Washington quarter D mint, worn condition, or even high grade has ever been proven to reach billionaire-making value. Those claims are fictional and not supported by numismatic evidence. The copper-nickel composition also plays a role in its limited value. Unlike silver quarters from earlier decades, this coin does not contain precious metal content that could significantly increase its base worth. In today's coin market, most attention goes to truly rare varieties such as early silver quarters, proof errors, or dramatic mint mistakes. The 1973 D quarter simply does not fall into that category under normal conditions. Still, coin collecting is not only about value, it is about discovery. Even a common coin can become exciting when you understand its background, production process, and place in history. Some collectors enjoy searching rolls of quarters hopping to find error coins or high-grade specimens. While the odds are low, the hobby itself keeps coins like the 1973 D Washington quarter relevant and interesting. The myth of overnight wealth from pocket change continues because it captures imagination. But real numismatics is built on patience, knowledge, and careful evaluation rather than sudden financial miracles. In conclusion, the 1973 D Washington quarter in circulated condition is a common coin with modest value but rich historical significance. It is not a hidden million-dollar treasure, but it remains an important piece of American mint history that reflects everyday life of its era. Understanding the truth behind coins like this helps you avoid scams and unrealistic expectations while still appreciating the fascinating world of numismatics, where real value comes from rarity, condition, and verified authenticity, not exaggerated internet stories.